What is going on, everyone? Welcome to another very exciting episode right here on the MIgardener channel. I am so glad that you all decided to join me out in the garden today because I have got a really exciting episode planned for all of you. Now, we do this every single year, but every single year you guys ask me, Luke, can you show us how to plant garlic? And so I figured I'm out in the garden today. It's an absolutely glorious day in the garden today, mind you, and it's garlic planting time. So why not spend a wonderful day in the garden, bringing you guys out with me to show you how to plant garlic. It's like a win-win-win. I love it. And so hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this episode. Now, if you're not new to this channel, you've probably seen us do this every single year. So what we're going to talk about in this episode is not necessarily anything earth-shattering, but hopefully my goal is that it'll reinforce information that maybe you forgot or maybe you just need a refresher. And if that happens, mission accomplished. If you've never seen our garlic planting videos before, hopefully you will enjoy it. Hopefully you'll learn something new. And if you have not yet subscribed, hopefully I will earn your subscription, if at the very least a like on this video, because that ultimately is the biggest thing that I can ask from you. If you like this video, it's going to share this video to other people that might never have known how to grow garlic, and it might inspire them to grow some garlic, because garlic, as we'll talk about, is one of the best crops that you can be growing. It's not only one of the best crops for you, but it's one of the best crops to save money on your food bill. So the first thing I want to talk about is the cost-saving ability of garlic. Garlic at our grocery store for a jumbo head of organically grown garlic, just generic organically grown garlic, is going to run us about $1 to $1.50 per head. Now, these are heads of garlic that I actually saved from garlic we grew earlier in the year, something you can do. And this garlic, believe it or not, is actually technically 4 years old. Now, this garlic itself is not 4 years old, but the genetics are 4 years old. And that's because 4 years ago, we bought it from a farmer selling certified seed garlic, which is something you want to start with. It's really important. If you just get any old garlic from the store, it'll grow, but it won't grow really well, and you'll have really mediocre results. Ever since we started moving to certified seed garlic, our results have only gotten better and better. And that's because a lot of growers will spray their garlic with a sprout inhibitor. It is an enzyme that they actually also use on potatoes to prevent them from sprouting. And so if you've ever taken your garlic home and a month or two goes by and you start getting those little green tops, that's the garlic starting to sprout. And they do that so that it doesn't grow as fast. And so if you pop it in the ground, well, it'll grow, but it doesn't really grow very great because it's constantly fighting that sprout inhibitor. And so then once it does grow, it's always it's really tiny and set back. And so starting from certified seed garlic is going to give you the best results. But also there's the best genetics. You see, stuff they sell in the store is called culinary garlic. And there's a difference between seed garlic and culinary garlic. Now, people in the industry they'll agree with me, but people that have never heard of this before will say, what are you talking about, seed garlic versus culinary garlic? Culinary garlic is basically the runt of the genetic pool. All of the garlic that you get in the store might seem big or might seem, it might seem nice quality, but certified seed garlic, though it looks ugly, is actually the stuff that's going to produce the best. And that's because farmers, when you select seeds, the whole purpose of seed selection is that you're going to select the most robust and viable seed culture so that you have better results next year. You wouldn't dare eat the best because you want to save the best to grow. It's that way with anything. It's biologic selection. And so you want to save the best biological traits for next year. You wouldn't eat them. It's pointless to do that. You'd only be doing yourself a disservice. And so you're actually going to be getting better quality, better traits by going with seed garlic rather than just getting kind of the ugly duckling of the bunch and gambling on good results. So with that being said, that's kind of my spiel on seed garlic. Now, this garlic here, we bought certified seed garlic 4 years ago, and we grew it, we saved it, 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 and this is going to be the 5th year that we've grown this strain of garlic. We bought this once, and we've not had to buy it for 4 years, going on 5 actually. So this only cost us $3 from our local farmer, $3. But we've grown it for 4 years, and we haven't had to buy it since. So technically, the cost of this garlic is about $1 a year, $1 a year, and next year it'll be even less. And so as long as we continue to save our seeds, not only are we getting a better quality garlic in the long run, because we're growing it in our garden year after year. It's actually getting climatized. It's growing in our conditions, but it's getting cheaper and cheaper because we don't have to buy it. And so I would encourage you all to grow some garlic, grow your own garlic, and then save your garlic and plant the healthiest, biggest, most beautiful cloves again for the following year. So with that being said, let's get on into how to grow garlic, because it's really simple. So the first thing we've done is we've prepped our bed. We prepped our bed by applying our yearly regimen, which if you have not seen that video, go check out that video. We applied a rock dust, which is a kind of glacial powdered rock that has a ton of trace minerals in it. We applied a humic acid powder that is going to help kind of just boost the flora and fauna, the beneficial bacteria and fungi in the soil. We're really going to give that kind of a kick start and jump start. And then we also used some trifecta, because we're going to be planting in this. So our trifecta is an all-purpose fertilizer. We used that to give these garlic a good head start. And then finally, we use some worm castings. We put worm castings in here to really just inoculate the soil with fresh cultures of bacteria and fungi, good bacteria and fungi, to really help the soil be its optimum fertility. And so we did that, but we also have topped this bed off with fresh compost. Now we did that in the spring, but if you have not yet done that, fresh compost is so important for growing garlic, because garlic is not only a very heavy feeder that utilizes a lot of nitrogen, but it also needs a lot of fertility, because garlic is something that's going to overwinter. And anything that overwinters means that you cannot amend the soil very well in the spring. So you have to start with really good fertile soil, because you have to go basically a whole growing season, or at least 3/4 of a growing season, before you can ever touch the soil again. Because yes, you can kind of top dress here and there with some fresh compost or whatnot, but it doesn't do the same as starting with a base of really good soil. And so because we're going to plant it now, and we have to prepare to basically wait until mid-July before we can ever really dig anything into the soil and really work it in nicely, that is going to be a long time. So that's why we started with a really good base of compost. We topped the bed off, it's ready to grow. And so now that we've done all of that, we're going to plant our garlic. But before we plant our garlic, before you do anything with planting garlic, you want to make sure that you are at least 30 days before your last frost date for best results. 30 days before your first frost date is going to ensure that the garlic has enough time to get rooted and established before winter weather comes. Because once winter weather comes, they stop growing, or they grow extremely slowly, if at all. And so you want to make sure that you wait 30 days. You want to make sure you plant at least 30 days before your first frost date. But you don't want to plant too soon, because if you plant, say, 50 or 60 days before your first frost date, you're going to have issues, because the plant is then going to grow. And if it grows too much, the cold weather will kill it back. So ideally, what you want to look for is you want a plant that is established. It gets a root system, and it just starts forming a little bit of green tops. That little bit of green tops, 1 to maybe 4 inches maximum, is really all you want before winter weather comes and kind of puts it to sleep. That is ideally what you're looking for, and that takes right around 30 days for that to happen. But there's a plot twist. Here in Michigan, we had a freak frost. And I know all of you in Michigan and a lot of areas, even on the East Coast and up north, a lot of you are going to say, but Luke, we already had our first frost. It came like 50 days before our first frost. It came out of nowhere, caught us all off guard. Can we still plant garlic? Yes, you can. And the reason why is because I don't go by, have you had a first frost? I go by, is that your normal first frost? That was not normal. That was completely out of the blue. That's like the equivalent of having a frost in, late June. If your last frost is, say, in April, and something happens in late June, no one can prepare for that. Nobody can prepare for that. But if your first frost happens 50 days before, don't stop gardening just because you had a first frost. Go with the plan that it's going to come October 30th. Because yes, you get these freak cycles every once in a while, but don't let that prevent you. Because we still have about 30 to 40 days before our first frost, before our first official frost date, which is right around October 30th. And so it's only September 20th. So we got a long time. We got like 40 days. Plenty of time to get the garlic in the ground. So if you're worrying and you already got your first frost, still get garlic in the ground. And what do you do if you don't have 30 days? Get it in the ground now and then just mulch it. Cover it with a really gentle layer of grass clippings, mulched leaves. Don't mulch it like 8 inches thick. Just 2 or 3 inches is really all you need to protect the soil, and you're gonna be fine. So with that out of the way, let's plant garlic. It's really simple after this. Okay, so we've got our garlic here, and the first thing you wanna do is take them and crack them. Now you don't wanna crack them and remove the skin, and that's because the skin is what protects it from rotting. And so we have this outer skin here, and normally if you were cooking, you'd crack this and take out the garlic on the inside, which is more of like a softer flesh. This harder skin is what you're looking for. So we're gonna come through here, we're gonna separate all these cloves out. Now what you'll notice is that as you get closer to the center of the garlic, on a soft neck variety, the cloves are gonna start getting smaller and smaller. That's because soft necks, they get larger on the outside and smaller on the inside, and that's just how soft necks grow. Now, with a hard neck, this is a hard neck variety called Dugansky. I love Dugansky, it is a fantastic variety. With hard necks, you're going to notice that there are no center cloves. That is because there is a stem that goes right through all the way down to what they call the basal root. Now the basal root is the base of the bulb. It is the main root system. And there's no center cloves because they're all attached to the main stem. So we're just gonna break those apart, again, leaving the skin. And you might be asking yourself, you might be asking yourself, what is the difference between hard neck and soft neck? Let me answer that for you. Hard necks produce a hard neck. Soft necks produce a soft neck. It's really that simple. However, there are some additional traits that hard necks have that soft necks don't. Hard necks are more cold hardy. So if you're somewhere in the north, hard necks are going to do better for you. We plant a combination of hard necks and soft necks because depending on how cold our winter is, kind of dictates our success. So we'll plant a combination of hard necks and soft necks here in Michigan. But if you're any further north than, say, like, you know, the southern part of Michigan, if you're any further north than that, go with hard necks. You're going to be far better off. Also, hard necks do create what's called a scape. In early June, they're going to start flowering. You want to cut those flowers back because that's actually going to take energy away from the bulbs. And we have videos on how to cut back scapes and what scapes are and stuff like that. So if you're interested, go check out those videos. But scapes are the only thing that really separates, with the exception of the cold hardiness, is really the only thing that separates the difference between hard necks and soft necks. All right, now that I got all my garlic separated, it's time to plant. And once I start planting, you're going to see exactly what I meant in the beginning of this video when I said that garlic is probably one of the easiest things to plant. And that's because there's just one additional thing to remember, and you're home free. And that is that the papery tip, the pointy part, faces up. The little divot on the bottom, the hard round divot that was attached to the original root system, those are going to become the new roots. And that needs to face down. Tip up, divot down, you're home free. That's it. And garlic will grow for you. It's very, very simple. So all we're going to do is we're going to take our shovel or any digging utensil of choice, and we're going to make a row. We're going to make a row, or you can plant each individual clove in a hole. I like a row because I can see where I'm planting, and then I can go back and cover it all up. So I kind of plant my garlic like I do, kind of like I do potatoes in a way, but do what works for you. So I take my garlic and I simply take it and I stick it in the trench. I stick it in the trench about every 2 inches apart. Now, if you give your plants 2 inches and 2 inches, that means the plants are getting about 4 inches total. 4 inches total spacing between plants. And that's all you need to know to plant garlic. Remember, this trench is about 1.5 inches, 2 inches deep. And that's because once you cover the plants up, you want them being covered by no more than about 1.5 inches of soil, no more. And that's because too deep and the soil is going to kind of choke out the bulb development, and you're really going to end up with smaller heads in the long run. Too shallow, your bulbs are actually going to form on the top of the soil, and they're going to push out and kind of come out of the soil as they grow, and then you're going to end up with soft, rotten cloves. So it's just a fine line between you know, is your porridge too hot or is it too cold? You want it just right. All right, so with that lame example out of the way, I'm gonna finish planting. So there we go, got everything planted. Now it's not a quick process by any means to shuck all those cloves and then dig the trenches and plant them all out. It's, you know, it's not a fast process, but nothing in the garden is fast. Gardening is all about, it's all about patience. It's all about the pace that a garden, you know, works at. And a garden is not a fast-paced, high-action environment. It's a slow-growing, slow-moving thing. And that's what I enjoy about gardening. I really like it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. Again, I'd really recommend checking out garlic. If you've never considered planting it, at least consider it. And if you're considering it, try it. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you learned something new. I'm gonna get all this covered up here. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm just gonna water it in and it'll be good. Now, once I start seeing sprouts, if I do see sprouts, I'm gonna wait for them to grow, like I said, about 3 to 5 inches before I give them any mulch and protection. If I don't see that, I'll wait until winter weather comes and then I'll protect them. Always give your garlic some type of protection. That's the final thing that's worth noting is protecting your garlic, even if it's a cold hardy variety like a hardneck, give them some protection. You're gonna be far better off in the spring when they come out of dormancy. So don't bury them 8 inches deep. Just like I said, 2 to 3 inches is really all you need to give them some cover and they're gonna be fine. So, all right, I'm gonna get these covered up here and I'll catch you all on the next episode. All right, grow big or go home, everyone. Bye.